Hey, what's going on, guys? Mike Marin here, and welcome to this training on sales. We are here with Guilliver Giles, and the title of this training is the world's best sales training. So, who you're going to be hearing from in a second is no other than Guilliver Giles. He is, in my opinion, one of the best sales trainers on the planet. He's trained Frank Kern's sales team, Ryan Dice's sales team, a lot of the best people in the high value, high ticket coaching arena have been using his stuff to make a lot of money. I know just through him, I've met a lot of his clients, people like Dan Klein I met actually at Guilliver Giles event. So throughout my journey, he's been integral, and his sales training has been very helpful to myself. So it's a pleasure for me to introduce to you guys Guilliver Giles. And without further ado, here is his sales training.
Cool. So, really, the stuff I deal with is usually trifold. Number one, people have some fears and some trepidations and some nervousness and some issues around sales and selling. So they come to me because they want to get good with sales, but they realize they've got some deeply held beliefs around it being a terrible, horrible, negative thing, which is, quite common in all sorts of different areas of life. We really get that pushed down our throat. So whether you're reading the Bible and it tells you the rich man is never going to enter the kingdom of heaven, or it's going to be less likely than a camel passing through the eye of a needle, whether you're at, school and your teacher's telling you that you have to get a job and be a doctor or a lawyer, or you'll never be successful, you can't possibly start a business or do your own thing or make money any other way than by going to university. There's all sorts of people out there. Your friends and family, when you first start your business, will all tell you that you're crazy and that you should go back to your day job. There's all kinds of things going on to make you feel like being a salesperson is not a good idea. And the worst of it is the media and the constant slew of movies about the douchebag salespeople that basically will knife their own grandmother for 5 cents. And there's a lot of that going on as well. So it would be really easy to be scared of how you might appear to people if you are selling. It might be quite easy for you to be put off or to have some lingering global beliefs or unhelpful thought forms around sales. So that's the number one issue I deal with. Number two is people who are good business people. They are good at talking to people. They are natural people. They're good at talking and they're good at engaging, but they don't really have a system or any kind of real step-by-step dot point. This is what I do first, and then I do this, and then I do this, and when they ask me this, I tell them this. They don't have it built out to the point where they're able to really optimize it or improve it. They just kind of, they kind of blunder along through life doing okay at it, but they're not deliberate or strategic about it. Number three is the guy or the girl who is the CEO, who's super, super busy and super, super, super good at sales, but has not got a team behind them, doesn't have people, taking that weight off their shoulders. So they're constantly responsible for doing all the work and holding up the cash flow of the company all on their own. And they'd like to be able to, let go a bit of that responsibility and have others do it, but they need to build the systems and train people and recruit people to do it for them. So I don't know who I've got on this call because I'm brand new to you guys. I know where Mike's at, but for you guys, whereabouts do you feel as if you fall in that sort of three different scenarios? Are you at that scared of it, worried about it, not sure about how to go about it point, or are you okay at it but not systemized, or are you super duper great at it but needing to kind of create systems and hire people to take it off your plate? Let's get a bit of a read of the room. Some of you are going to be number one. Some of you are going to be number two. Some of you are going to be number three. Some of you are going to be a combination of all of them. It just sort of depends on where you're at. What are your guys' feelings? Let me know.
So we're getting a two. What I'm going to do is I'm going to make you an organizer so
Okay.
that you could see the questions.
Oh, sweet.
So
Beautiful.
make you an organizer so you'll be able to see some of the questions coming in. And then I'm also going to, so there we go. All right, you should be able to see now the questions, Gulliver.
We already read the questions? Oh, there we go. Melanie says, hi. Magida says, you can hear. 2, 3.
Leon
Okay.
Street says all good. Giuseppe says hi. So yeah, you should be able to see all the questions now.
Okay, cool. So we got some 1, 2 kind of 1, 2 and kind of, yeah, we don't have any kind of threes. Okay, I wouldn't have expected that we'd have a whole bunch of threes on the call because you guys are like not, running gigantic corporations and multi-billion dollar fucking companies, obviously. But if you are a little bit trepidatious about it and you're kind of good at talking to people, but you have some nervousness and you need to get more systemized, that's going to be a good topic for this call. That gives me an idea of how I need to frame what we're going to talk about. So for the most part, you're in the situation where there's a little bit of nervousness and fear, but you also love your people and you want to talk to them, but you're not strategic about how you do it. Great. This is going to be perfect. So in terms of my philosophy and my beliefs, I think that's the number one thing that I'll start with. What has really been the case for me is that, like in the last few years, I've come to the fore, like Mike said, been a whole bunch of people who've said really nice things about our work here. Ryan Dice, Frank Kern, Dan Klein, all of these guys who are doing really well with the materials that we've given. But it wasn't always that way. Like I'm 43 now, but when I was in my 20s, I was terrible. I was terrible at sales. I was really, really awful because of all the reasons that we just talked about. I had a really negative outlook on business and money making, and I was very fearful of talking to people. The reason that I'm able to help people now is because of the difficulties that I had then. So when I was first in the job, I was making all the excuses not to make phone calls. I was doing all of the dumb things that I teach people not to do now. And one of those things was really making up a bunch of stories about how if I made phone calls, people would be horrible to me. So I would avoid doing it. And when you're a salesperson and you avoid making phone calls and talking to people, you all know what happens. There's an old sales adage that the bad salesperson has skinny children. So I got myself into a lot of trouble early in my career financially, couldn't make my mortgage payments. Things were very difficult. At this time, my wife, Leela, our CEO and founder, she's very much, relying on me to bring the money in. And every morning, the unmarked debt collecting calls would come, and every morning I would try and ignore them and get on the phone. And every day I would be in this horrible, miserable place in the first couple of years of our business when we were in startup. And it was very, very, very difficult, and strain was very, very heavy on me. And it's very difficult to feel positive when there's bad things going on all around you. And during this period of time, I discovered quite by accident that if you just focus on the other person and what they're going through, that you can kind of escape from the horror of your day and go down the rabbit hole into what's going on in their life. And I kind of sort of accidentally discovered that you could absolutely use the sales process as a means by which to take the focus off and detach from all of your issues and just be purely there for the other person. And during this period of time, things started to change. So I started to get better conversations and help people. And it really framed the philosophical grounding of my current work, which is that sales is an act of love. It's about loving people enough to reach out to them and talk to them and put aside all of your stuff and just focus purely on them. So sales is an act of love. That's the big kind of grounding ethos of what we teach, is that, sales is about loving people enough to call them even though you're frightened and even though you've got some bad things going on in your life or your business, because times are always up and down in business. It's never just wonderful all the time. and I say that, where we were there, we were doing less than $100,000. Now we're doing over $1 million, heading into $2-3 million a year bracket. We're doing okay, but we still have tough times. There's still bad days that you don't want to get on the phone and do the work and you're having a tough time. In those times, you've really got to remember that sales philosophically is an act of love, right? So that's number one. But also, when you are loving people unconditionally and trying to help them, what will always happen is there will be people who are, happy to take advantage of that and happy to use your energy, but who will never buy from you. So what would happen is I'd be on these tough days on the phone in bad times, working my butt off to try and help people and using that as a way to escape from the humdrum and the grind of all the bills and the horrors and the stuff that was going on that I was trying desperately to improve. But if I wasn't closing sales, then Leela would be like, dude, you can't just unconditionally love everyone. You also have to respect yourself enough to get the order and actually get paid, and you have to get better at weeding these people out. So the philosophy evolved. Sales is an act of love, but it's an act of love and respect, self-respect, respect for yourself, and respect for the other person, telling them the truth. Hey, dude, we've had a really great conversation, but if you don't do something about this and take action, you're not going to get the result you want. So not just the softness of loving people, but also the firmness, the hardness of being able to call them on their bullshit. So particularly in a coaching business, in a sales coaching business, being able to walk the walk is very important. You guys, I don't know how many high-ticket sales experts we have on this call, but if you're a sales expert and you don't handle people's objections and you don't actually call them out on their stuff, then you don't get very far. So for me, I think my biggest issue is teaching you guys to kind of believe in sales as an act of love, loving people enough to call them and try and help them, and respecting them and yourself enough to tell the truth and demand that, they are honest with you and that they tell you what their real problems are so you can solve them. And you're not always going to get the sale, but you will always be able to look at yourself in the mirror and respect yourself. So that's really important, I think, as the philosophical grounding, because if you've got issues with sales or fear around sales, if you're viewing it as a horrible, disgusting thing that you do to people for money, but that it's somehow not cool on some level, you will always struggle, yeah? So you've got to be able to get rid of that feeling. Those of you who said they were 1 and 2, when you say that you're a little bit 1, you've got some trepidations. What are some of the worries and the issues that plague you? What are the things that you're worried about when it comes to sales and selling? What are the things that are bothering you? You can all put your messages in chat if you want, in the questions area or in the chat area, wherever you're writing. And if you do that, maybe Mike will be brave enough to talk about a few of his issues that he had when we first started training, just to give you an idea of the sort of stuff I'm talking about. Yeah, and I think if you look at a lot of the big names in the industry, like there's not a lot of people, particularly in our industry, who got success who weren't involved in sales from a very early age. Like if you look at Anthony Robbins, like he was a salesperson for Roan and became a sales trainer for Roan before he ever became Anthony Robbins. Like there's some really big names who started out in sales, but there's a lot of people out there who trade heavily on getting you to build the amazing funnel of doom rather than actually speaking to anybody. And yeah, you can do that, but I think like marketing without sales, you're always going to get less. Sales without marketing, you're always going to get less. If you put the two together, then you're really going to rock it. And this is something that Jay Abram and I talked about recently. It's like, you can do all of these different channels of marketing, but if you add telemarketing and phone sales to them, then you're going to 10x all of them. And if Jay Abrams says it, and Jay Abrams, the reason you know who Anthony Robbins is, then you can take that to the bank because he's the $10 billion man.
Yeah.
Cool. So I think the big thing is realizing that sales is about like loving people and caring about them. None of you guys, hopefully, on this phone are selling junk bonds that don't exist to grandmothers to take their pensions away. None of you guys are clubbing baby seals to death for a living. None of you guys are like, eating freaking unborn children in satanic rituals for a business. Hopefully. Although it'd be kind of interesting.
No one is.
So when you look at what you guys do, yeah, and you look at what you sell, you're all probably in the business of serving people, yeah? You're all doing something good on the planet, I hope. That's the reason people are giving you money, right? So you've got nothing to be ashamed of when it comes to selling, and yet a lot of you guys will have some stuff in your head around sales which is holding you back. So nobody in the... Hang on a sec. Where are we? I got Giuseppe. Actually, no, I was going to say... Nobody wrote anything in the chat, but Giuseppe did. He said he's not able to answer objections at the moment. So objection handling is what worries people. This is a big thing. People worry about sales. They worry about what will happen when the person says no. What will happen when the person says, I don't have enough money, or I want you to send me an email, or oh, I don't trust you, or I need to talk to my wife, or whatever the objection is. People worry about what will happen at the end of the sale. And this is a big thing. So I train objection handling quite extensively, and it's a really important skill set to have. Having said that, the most important skill set to have is opening the sale and finding the information you need in the first place, so that when you go for the close, you have all of the reasons that person needs to do what you're selling, right? So my approach is very consultative. I will consult with the person, figure out where they're at, what they want. If I can help them, I will then make them an offer. And if I make them an offer and they give me objections, I will then be able to handle the objections, because I know how important it is that they step up and take the action they need to take. So I will usually, over the space of an hour, find out where the next $500,000 to $1 million is in their business, and I will show them why they're not getting it and why they're not where they want to be. And at that point, the cost to them is massive. Yeah. The cost to them is literally multiple 6 or 7 figures. Yeah. And at that point, it's very easy to handle their objections, because I have all of the ammunition that I need. Yeah. So I will train you guys in objection handling a little bit later on the call. Absolutely. Magida says, same, not been trained on objection handling really before, just seen and heard bits and pieces. We will take you through the full system in a minute. I think let's start at the start though. How do we actually get those clients in the first place to be interested enough to feel that we can make an offer, right? So Leon asks, how do I get Frank and Ryan as clients? Short answer, I worked my fucking ass off. Basically what happened was, if you want to get those guys as clients, then what you've really got to do is you've got to, well, this is my strategy. I joined their program. Leila and I spent $15,000, joined Frank's program, flew over from Australia, and bent the knee, kissed the ring, paid the money, respected Frank and his teachings. And that was the first step. Second step was we then excelled in his program, did all the work, and we're in the top 5% of the class, top 2 or 3 people in the class. And we brought ourselves to Frank's attention by making a whole bunch of money, making him look good, and helping his clients within the program to make money. So he dragged us up on stage and asked us how we beat everybody else to get the results that we got, and how we gave his clients the help to make them more prosperous. And we were then all of a sudden on stage with Frank. And then Frank invited us to do some modules with his course so that we could help his people more. And then Frank decided, hey, wouldn't it be cool to do some stuff together? So we did a program together. Then Roland opted in for the program and said, hey, would you like to come and do this with Ryan and I? And I said, well, no, we need to talk to Frank because we're partners. So we all sat down in La Jolla, and then Roland and Ryan and Frank said, let's all do this thing together. And then we ended up training Roland's team and helping them sell the product, the Funnel Experts product you probably would have heard of. So that's how that happened. So it starts with bending the knee, paying the mentor, doing the work, building the relationship, creating massive value, and then you end up in business together. Yeah. So it's a bit of a long game, but that's how it happens. So Gulliver, you are saying that you'll only make an offer if you know for sure you can manage all the objections. No, I will say I will say this. I will only make an offer if I think I can help them, and I know I can handle their objections. But whether they buy from me or not is totally up to them. Like I can handle the objections, but I won't make an offer until I know that I can definitely help. Magida says a thing holding me back is mindset, the belief that I can't do it good enough, so I'm spending more time working with a mindset coach right now. When you say can't do it and you're not good enough, that is a big human fear. It's a massive human fear. It's always there. Like the fear that we're not enough plagues humanity. It will always be with you. Like you can work on it, but it will always be there. The fact is, this sales script and what I'm going to show you guys, the point of it is to put yourself aside and work with the client on their problems. So by the end of this process, you're looking at what they're able to achieve and the growth that you're able to get them. And you're able to say, well, shit, I've just looked at all of the things you're not doing that I could help you do, and you're going to get these results if I help you. So it's not about whether you're good enough. It's about what the client's going through and whether or not you've got what it takes to help them with the things that you know you can definitely do. And it's not about handling their objections and beating them up as much as it is building enough value to really help them. Again, Melanie, asking for the sale with ease. If you're not running a proper sales presentation with a script that actually takes you through the breakthroughs that client needs to have so that you feel good about offering them what it is you're offering, then it's like a big scary moment. It needs to be a help course. Well, you know, I definitely want to help this person. This is the time where I'm going to make this offer. So I want to make that super easy for you. Jeremy says, I'm looking for a formula for enrolling clients for a higher ticket than I typically enroll now. My rate's now $2,000 to $3,000. I really want to confidently enroll 5, 6 or more, but I need a high level of commitment. Sorry, I'm just trying to scroll down and read all of that. I need a high level of commitment to the prospect on the phone. I've experienced people that challenge me on the value of what I'm offering if I raise my prices. Look, there will always be people that challenge you around money and price, but you need to be able to give them a breakthrough around what it's going to do for them. And if you have a hard time communicating the value that you offer, and they're comparing costs with other people, then we haven't done enough to uniquely position ourselves. That's a marketing issue. And also a sales issue. In the call, we haven't given them so much value that the other people look like shit by comparison. We can fix that. Magida says she doesn't have a track record, can't guarantee that I can get them leads, but they all want a guarantee. Cool. So if you don't think you can get them leads, then you shouldn't sell them. Absolutely. You don't need a track record to get them leads. You need to know that you can do it. So you either can or you can't. Like, you've got to start somewhere. I think it's very easy to get up in your head about that stuff. I would not guarantee anyone anything that relies on them doing something. So my thing is this: if you know absolutely that you can get on Facebook and generate 100 leads this week, then you can guarantee that. If you rely on the client to come back to you with stuff and you rely on the client to make sales and close the deals and all that sort of stuff, do not be guaranteeing them that they're going to do that, because you can't follow through on something that they're doing. Yeah. So guarantees, I'm a big fan of not using them unless you can absolutely 100% ironclad guarantee something. Then don't do it. You don't have to have a guarantee. My guarantee is if people want me to say that I'm going to guarantee my sales program works for them, I will say I guarantee that you shouldn't buy it, because I'm relying on them to do the work. Yeah? I'm relying on them to make the phone calls. So I can't guarantee shit. I can guarantee my process works for me and for all of my clients that have used it, it's worked really well, but I can't guarantee that they're going to be the person that gets off their ass and does the work. So if they're asking for a guarantee, that's usually a really bad sign. Yeah? So let's, without further ado, get into what actually has to happen on the sales call to get the results. So my initial training was probably, like a lot of you would be familiar with it, like when I first started out, I was trained in AIDA. So AIDA is, I think, Collier, AIDA, which is your attention, interest, decision, action. And the way I was taught, it was get their attention, get them to be interested, and get them to take action. Get them to make a decision and get them to take action, right? So what's wrong with that? Get their attention, get them to make a decision. Sorry, get their attention, get their interest, get them to make a decision, get them to take action. Anyone want to guess what's wrong with that? Well, since nobody's lipping to put their hand up, you can't get anyone to do anything. So what it's got to be really is you've got to give them all of your attention. You've got to give them a clear decision, so you got to give them all of your interest. You've got to be interested in them, and you've got to give them a clear decision to make, and you've got to give them a clear action that they need to take to get that result. So it's not about getting, it's about giving. It's not about making or taking, it's about giving. So my process is very giving, particularly on the front end, yeah? So if you look at my process, what will typically happen is I'll get on the phone and I'll do my introduction. And my introduction is not like everybody else's. So I'll get on the phone and I'll be like, hey, is that Mike? Mike Marin? Mike, you are a man of great taste and distinction. And he'll be like, what? I'll be like, Mike, seriously, I know you are because I have some definitive evidence. You've opted in for my 1 week warrior sales training, which you've downloaded. And that tells me you're a man who is indeed a man of taste because you're interested in sales. Which makes you about the most interesting person I could possibly be speaking to. So today's call is all about you, where you're at, what you're up to. If I can help, I'd love to help. If not, that's cool too. But tell me your story. How'd you get started? Where are you now? Where do you want to be? Tell me all about you. So what's going on there? There's a few things going on there. I've done a whole bunch of stuff in a very, very short period of time. If nobody else sings out, Mike, you can help me out.
So I've seen this training about 5 times. So do you want me to give you all the answers?
Sure.
So what is he doing at this point? Well, number one, he's getting them to say yes. First and foremost. Number two is notice what he's doing with his tonality. What is he doing with his tonality? In the very beginning. Yep, Mike or yeses. What is he also doing? He's using their name, right? Notice how many times in the intro that he's using the name of the person that he's speaking to. And I think it's...
Mike Marin. Mike, is that Mike? Yeah, cool. You're the very man I need.
Yep. And exactly, Leon, the energy is rising. See how he's got a cascading energy? It's almost... Is that Guilliver? Guilliver Giles?
Correct. Yeah.
And it's an upbeat energy. And I don't know if you taught me this, but I think it might have been Leela, but it's almost like, and I got this when I went to Sales Crucible, it's almost as if you are, because I felt very uncomfortable doing this the first 2 times that I did the training. And it wasn't until I realized that it's supposed to be uncomfortable and you're almost supposed to, it's almost like you're prank calling someone.
Yes, exactly.
Right? And that distinction, I was like, okay, this is a prank call. I'm supposed to throw them off balance. That's when it made sense to me. And that's when I got over myself, because before I was like, this is ridiculous. I'm going to say, hey, is this Jeremy? Jeremy Jones? Jeremy Jones, I hear that you're a man of great taste and distinction. That felt really awkward. Like, why am I doing that? But when I got that, I'm like, I'm doing a prank call, and if you notice the way that Guilliver does it, he throws in the pauses and it almost drags out that tension. It started to go a lot better for me on those intros. So that's what he's doing on the intro.
Exactly. You want to be cheeky and confident in a good way, but you're doing that very much. It's like the radio show is calling. You know, when the radio prank calls people to tell them they've won something, it's kind of like that kind of a vibe. The reason I'm doing that is back when I was running a multi-desk call center back in the 90s, we were competing with a whole bunch of people decided to offshore their telemarketing to India, and people were getting all of these abusive calls and spammy calls and difficult calls, and we were competing with all of these people calling our clients, just annoying them. And my salespeople were like, no, dude, we're calling these people, but they're getting like 40 phone calls a day from telemarketers. I'm like, dude, you need to be better than that poor guy in Bangalore who's got no training and none of the advantages and privileges that you have. You need to be better than him. Do you think you can manage that? So I train them to be interesting. So instead of the typical corporate, hello, it is Guilliver calling from the boring company. I am going to sell you some shit. Typical corporate intro. You know, you get that from the Indian telemarketers. Hello, it's Harbhajan calling from Telstra, which is the telephone company here. You know, I've got a wonderful offer for you. Like, fuck off. Like, who the fuck are you? Like, you don't even know who I am. You don't know me. I don't want to talk to you. All right, just instantly, it's a fuck off, right? So I changed it to be really them-centric. So Mike, is that Mike Maron? Mike Maron, it's the radio station down the road calling and you've won a prize is almost the kind of vibe. But yeah, you do sound like a bit of an asshole. Here's a bit cheesy. Yes, they will, Giuseppe, exactly. Giuseppe asks, will they feel they are being pranked? Yes, they will. And why the hell would I want to do that on a sales call? That is just counterintuitive as fuck. Why am I doing that? What's going on there? What do you reckon, Mike?
No, because it throws them off balance.
Exactly. It's
And
very deliberate.
and the big thing is you're controlling the comfortability of the call and you're controlling the energy. It's like your frame is senior to their frame.
I am putting them off balance deliberately because, let's face it, if you read Miyamoto Musashi's Book of Five Rings, which is the seminal text on strategy and swordplay for 14th century Japanese samurai, it's now used as the business text in Japanese business schools. He says when you are fencing, you want to take advantage of the environment. So if the guy is on the ground outside, you want to drive him onto the rocks or into rivers where he'll lose his footing. If they're inside, you want to push them into doorways where they can't swing their sword properly. If you have the sun, if it's a nice day, you use the sun. You come out of the sun, attack from the sun so he's blinded. Always take advantage of the natural environment if you are trying to kill someone with a sword. So too in sales. The natural environment at the start of this call, what's going on? What is the natural environment at the front of the call? They're uncomfortable.
Yep.
Right? They're already uncomfortable. What the fuck is this phone call? Yes, they do object. Who did you hear? Who told you I'm a man of great taste and distinction? Yes, they do. Is that an objection or is that them asking me a buying question? Have I engineered that? It's not normal, Jeremy says. Exactly. It is not normal at all. You're throwing them off balance. You're making them wonder, who the fuck is this? What is this about? This is pretty much the only question I want them asking at this point. What the hell is this? What is this about? Why are you calling me? What is this about? I want them to be thinking that. Why do I want that? Why do I want them to have that discomfort? How do I answer that? Have a guess. What do you reckon I'm going to do? Well, I've kind of done it for you. You do know.
Yep.
What did I do? Let's think about what I did. I said, well, actually, I have some pretty definitive evidence because you put your details in here for this course, which tells me you're a man of great taste. You obviously love my stuff. Today's all about you. And they get to feel what at that point? What happens then? Relief.
Yes.
They go, oh, okay, it's about that thing. Great. Oh, geez, I don't have to be worried about who the fuck this person is now. Phew, it's mine. Oh, yeah, I remember doing that on Facebook. Great. Oh, okay. Well, all right. Well, I started my business in 1998, and they start talking, which is exactly what you want. So there are, mostly by that stage, they just felt so uncomfortable that when you tell them what it is and it's relevant and it's like not some horrible joke being played on them, but it's actually something that they are interested in that's real, for the most part, at that point, they're like, oh, okay, cool. Well, right, that's, right. And the ice breaks and they laugh. So you've created that discomfort so you could take it away, so you have the power to make them feel like they belong again. And then you probe. So tell me more about you. How'd you get started? Tell me your story. Well, I started in 1998 as a blah, blah, blah. And you say, oh, wow. Tell me more. So like we talked about, you've given them all this attention. Mike Maron, Mike, I hear you're the man of taste and distinction. Well, actually, I know you are because you did this. Tell me your story. Interest. Oh, wow. You did what? You're an internet marketer. Okay, great. What led you to start that? Oh, that's an amazing story. Tell me more about that. Give a shit. You have to sound like you care. Well, it helps if you actually do care. You have to care. You have to be super interested. They have to be like the most interesting thing in the world. You're in sanitary disposal? How the hell did you get into that? Wow. Dude, there's so many people out there whose lives are so much improved because of what you do. Tell me more. Be super interested. Be super enthusiastic. The best thing you can do in this probing section is active listen. Yeah? So you did this, and then what I'm really hearing you say is you did that. Wow, tell me more about that. Those magical words, tell me more, tell me more, tell me more. Oh my God, that's amazing. You want to make them center stage the most important person under the limelight in the world. Yeah? Super important. Then, when you've pulled all the information you need out of them, you wrap it all up in a bow. So what I'm really hearing you say is you're here and you'd really like to be here. Here are all the big emotional reasons why you want that, and here are the tangible reasons of what that's going to do for you if you achieve those goals. So always with emotion first. So ask them what their big emotional reasons for what they want are, and then logic later on, tangible things later on. People buy emotionally. The more you listen to them and care about them and feel their pain and understand their goals and understand their desires, and the more they feel comfortable to share that stuff with you at the start, all of that ammunition, when they give you a stupid objection later on, you can say, hey, look, I hear what you're saying and you're really worried about the money, and thank you so much for telling me that, but honestly, I want to reassure you that's going to be way less important to you than being able to buy Timmy that new leg or that new kidney or whatever it is they've told you their big problem is they're trying to solve. The reason they want to make all that money is so they can send their kid to private school. The reason they want to make all that money is because they want to help the starving children in Africa, or whatever their big desire is. The more you gather at the front end of that call, the more you're able to have power later on if they try and make an excuse to cut themselves out of having the life they want. Yeah?
Yeah. And Gulliver, how do you come up? So for everyone who's probing, how do they come up with their questions for probing? Like, do you recommend they have a list of questions that they probe for, or is it more like they're probing for certain goals?
Well, it depends what you're doing, right? So for me, as a sales and marketing consultancy business, as an educational business, like really we're looking at who are you, where are you at right now, what's the business doing? If we were talking again in a few years' time and you'd achieved all the things that you wanted to achieve, what would be happening in the business? Yeah, what would it look like? Who would you be working with? Who wouldn't you be working with? What would be happening? Yeah? How would that feel? Why is that important? Tell me more about that. Like all of the emotional kind of bigger picture there. Mm-hmm. Then, okay, great. So what's your average kind of lifetime value of a customer? How long do they stay? How much money do they spend? Great. And what's your marginal net worth client? Okay, so the littlest ones are just these guys. Okay, great. So when you make a sale, what are your packages? Okay, great. So you've got the marginal guys who do like $1,500, then you've got the mid-level guys who spend $5,000, and then the higher end guys who do $36,000, and they stay for on average 2 or 3 years, and then you've got your super duper high level guys who've been with you for 5 years who end up spending $70,000 a year, so their lifetime value is higher. Okay, great. How many people do you convert at the moment? If you call 10 prospects, how many do you get? Fantastic. And what's your average cost for acquiring a lead? Fantastic. At the moment, you're kind of just doing that organically. You're not really doing any paid traffic or anything like that. Okay, interesting. Fantastic. All right, so what I'm really hearing is that you're here. You'd really like to be here. You're selling the clients for this much, but you really like them to be there. You're really kind of doing some organic stuff, but you've hit the end of your kind of ability to rely on your network, and you'd like to expand out beyond that using like better marketing strategies, getting a better niche of people towards you. Is that correct? Fantastic. Well, look, that tells me you're pretty much the ideal person that I want to work with. Usually when people come to work with me, there's one of 3 things that they want. Number 1, they want leads, more leads coming to them saying, hey, Mike, I want what you've got. Yeah. Number 2 is they want to be making bigger sales with better systems and better sales objection handling. So they're creating $30,000, $40,000, $50,000, $60,000, $70,000, $100,000 deals instead of $2,000, $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 deals. And they need help packaging that up, but they also need help scripting that out. Yeah. And number 3, they're busy, really bloody busy, and they're so busy that they need to hire staff to take over and automate aspects of their marketing and sales so they can be the CEO and chill out and take it easy and actually have a break and have some holidays rather than being the chief cook, bottle washer, having to do everything all the time. So which one of those three are you? And they say, oh my God, I'm number 1, 2, and 3, or hey, I'm number 1 and 2, or hey, I'm number 2 and 3. What have I done there? What am I beginning to do?
So I'll give you guys the answers. He's closing there.
The close has begun.
Yes.
So I'm asking them what their desire is, really. I'm giving them some clarity at the same time about what their desire should or could be. And I'm giving them the seeming alternative of this, or this. But I'm really giving them some choices that are yes, yes, or yes. So the opening phase of the sale was getting on the phone and giving them my attention. And the opening phase of the sale was then being really interested in them and making them feel heard. The closing phase is giving them some things that they could desire. So I'm really innocently suggesting that maybe they could be this person, or this person. But really, they're all buying in at that point and saying, oh my God, I am this, this, and this, and I need this, this, and this. And at that point, what am I building is what? Permission to close them some more, right?
Yep.
So, at this point, the reasons their shit is broken is, number one, their lead gen is shit, which means their niche is probably fucked. Number two, they don't have any marketing systems or sales systems, and they're not charging enough. So because their niche is terrible, their messaging is terrible, their marketing is terrible, and they're not making enough profit. They're not charging or packaging well. And then they're also exhausted and burned out and super busy trying to do all this stuff themselves, and they need to be able to then put team on to help them become the director of a company, not the solo operator who's super, super, super limited. So they need to remove their limitation around sales activity and marketing activity so they can expand. So if you look at these three things, everyone always says yes to all of these three things, or one of them at least, depending on who the audience is and how well they're doing. So why is that the case? Why are those three things always correct? What's going on there?
Type it in, guys.
Mike's carrying you guys at the moment. You're going to get a lot out of this if you think about it.
Think about the answers, because I've already gone through this training 5 times.
Mike's getting good at it. He knows the answers now.
What is Guilliver doing there?
I can't wait for you guys. Your typing is so slow. So, confirmation that you do have solutions. Yes, Jeremy, that's true. I'm giving them a bit of show and tell, but I'm also building an agreement that they want those things. Those three things are the 3 pillars of business growth. So number one, you can't grow a business unless you have what? Sales. So the best kind of sales, the easiest sort of probably kind of sales is the ones they're already getting. So more leads who want to buy what they've got right now. Number two is increased profitability. So you can either make more of your existing sales, or you can make more profitable sales, or sell packages with higher profits or bundles so that you can make more profit. So that's number two. Number three is create more sales across both channels of the cheap thing and the expensive thing, right? So I couch that within have less time at work, do less work, and make more money so that you're not involved with all the sales. And that's important for small business people, because some of them are like, holy shit, if I make all the sales, I won't have any time left. Oh my God, I don't have time. This is just a death trap, blah, blah, blah. It's not scalable. So all of those three things are really important, but they're going to say yes, 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 or yes to all of those things because they have to make more sales in their business. They're always going to need more leads. They're always going to need to make more profit, and they're always going to want to do less work and spend more time on the beach with their wife. Yeah? So at this point, most people would close. Yeah, they would like make an offer. I do what's called an insight-based sale. So I create breakthroughs at this point. So there are 3 breakthroughs that they need to have. Number 1 is, why am I not getting those people that I want? Well, their niching is shit. So I need to break down their niche and show them that their niche is crap and rebuild it. So that then sets the stage for the next breakthrough, which is, hey, now that we've got this new niche, which is amazing, and they have more money and they're super exciting, they're going to spend more on a better product. Let's build out a more exciting package that would make more profit. And then when they've had that breakthrough, I then apply internet marketing and sales strategy to it. Okay, great. So you said before you were closing 1 out of 10 into your $300 thing. If I could show you how to close 2 or 3 out of 10 with my new sales process and objection handling into that new $5,000 thing, you'd go from making a sale a day at $300 and making $1,500 a week to making 3 sales a day at $5,000 and making $15,000 a day. So we then show them how to expand their internet marketing. So if they spend $1,000 and they close 3 out of 10 people into their $5,000 thing and they've got 200 phone numbers, if they close 3 out of 10, they're going to make, what's that going to be? Something like 60 sales at $5,000, and they're going to make a serious amount of money. So I show them how marketing and sales strategy implemented equals expansion. So ROI. I get them to tell me how much more money they would be making if they did what I tell them to do. And at the end of that, I get them to tally all that up. So if we change your message and we start to advertise that and we get this better niche of people who spend more money because you've got this new offer and you're making this extra money, literally right now, the cost of not doing my program is $500,000 a year more than they're currently making. What are they leaving on the table, right? Then the price is all the work that they're not doing, all the things that I'm going to teach them that they don't know and they're not doing. And the investment is only $3,000 a month to make an extra $500,000 a year. So that's the kind of offer triplicate. Cost is what they're losing. Money, price is not money. It's what they've got to do, which is put down their bullshit, be coachable. This frames your close. 3, investment's only this much. So what's going to happen is I then future pay. So what will happen is once we get your credit card down and get your contract signed, I'm going to hook you up to all the stuff, which is going to give you access to this, this, and this, which is going to mean you can begin to get those changes in your marketing and your sales. And then what we'll do is we'll schedule a call in the next day or 2 so we can sit down and go through making your new offer. So we can get you on the phone making those new sales in the next week so you can put an extra 5 or 10 grand in the bank in the next couple of weeks. And by the end of the month, hopefully, if you've done what I tell you to, you'll have made more money than you need to pay out my entire program for the year, and you'll be way ahead on that initial $3,000. And then next month, on the same date, your new payment will come out, and that will happen every month, unless you make 50 or 60 grand in the next week and you want to do a pay it in full option, in which case you can give me another $20,000 and we'll call it quits, and you've got your program for the next year. And then when you renew, you'll be making so much money that we might talk to you about the upgraded level. So anyway, all that means is getting started. So would you prefer to use Visa card or MasterCard? So alternative close, Visa card or MasterCard. Very, very effortless at this point because it's a foregone conclusion. It's completely assumptive. It's an assumptive alternate close. You're assuming they're going to buy because why fucking wouldn't they? If you're showing them how to make an extra $500,000. Now, not everybody on this call is in business to business. Some of you guys are in health and wellness. Some of you guys are in something else. It doesn't matter. What is the value to the client? Yeah, that's the really important question. So the breakthroughs you're going to give your clients, if you're not in B2B, aren't necessarily going to be about ROI. They might be about something else. But that's what they're interested in, and that's why they'll buy. So that's the sales process. Any questions about any of that?
Guys, that is serious gold. So thank God we got the replay for that. Thank you, Guilliver.
Messages in chat?
It's great. Makes sense. Leon said, got it.
Cool. So I'm going to send you through the link to the Sort of Sales game, which is a sales script generator. If you have a script already, you don't need to do this. But if you don't, or if you want to just play around with it because it's awesome, there's a link there that you can build that sales script out of.
Beautiful.
Cool. So next step, objection handling. This is where either at this point in the sale or earlier in the sale, people will start giving you stupid excuses. So 5 main excuses are time and money are the big ones. Yeah. Then information, partner, and trust. Time and money are the core objections. They're value-based objections. When someone says, I don't have the time or I don't have the money, what they really mean is, I'm not going to fucking spend this money. So if you just spend like an hour breaking down how they could get these results and they're still not smart enough to take that action, then you've got to handle their objection. So this is what the armor of God is for. So armor of God has 9 steps. Yep. Step number 1, active listen, my good friend. I hear what you're saying, and you're saying that like we've spent half an hour on the phone talking about growing your business and you really need to achieve these goals, but you're stuck. And the solution to that is not to invest in the training. So I hear what you're saying, and I want to reward you for saying that out loud, because when I say it like that, it sounds kind of stupid, doesn't it? Reward. Second step, I want to reward you for saying that. Reassure. I want to reassure you that a lot of my clients have that same resistance when we first talk, when they look at their dream of making all of the money and creating the changes in their business. When I ask them to put down their deposit, they freak the fuck out, not because they don't have the money, not because it's expensive, not because it's not worth it, but because they're terrified of stepping into their destiny and having the thing that they want. They make up all these excuses about how they can't do it, and they push it away, even though they really, really, really want it. That's okay. It's not just you. So step 4, I want to remind you, we were talking before at the start of the call, and you said that it was really important to you to create this growth in your business because of X, Y, and Z things, and that really meant a lot to you. And I want to realign you with that. Yeah? Because that's what's most important in your life, you told me. So I want to reframe you on this a little bit. Step 6, reframe. Negative story, positive story, Tony Robbins style. Dickens process. What's going to happen if you keep not doing this? What's it going to feel like? Let's go 40 year. Once upon a time, there was a guy called Mike, and he didn't get good at sales, and he didn't make money, and he didn't help people. And a year from now, he was even more pissed off and broken, angry, and exhausted at the sound of his own bullshit. That's a depressing story. Is a more positive story. Once upon a time, there was a guy called Mike who was scared shitless and didn't have enough money, but he put down his credit card and went and found the money and made sales. And in a couple of weeks, he was making more sales than the course was costing, and he was super happy. And 3 or 4 years later, he was a millionaire. Which one of those guys do you want to be? Contrast. Which one of those guys do you want to be? Trial close. So if I could help you to get that result, would it be worth doing? Would it be worth risking? Because right now the cost to you is that $500,000, $1 million extra that you're not making. Yeah? If you pay $3,000 and you make no sales in the next month and you go bankrupt, it is cheap at the price compared to fucking bumbling around, not getting there and not knowing. And this call will haunt you if you don't do it. So is it worth taking a risk on it? Is it worth rolling the dice on you? Great. Well, in that case, hard close, Visa card or MasterCard. Assumptive alternative close, Visa card or MasterCard. So what can happen at this point is, oh, well, it's actually that I need to talk to my wife. So what I really hear you saying is, you basically roll through the same pattern. So what you're really saying is you want to do this. You need to make this happen, but you're worried that your wife isn't going to support you. Is that correct? Fantastic. Well, I want to reward you for saying that out loud. Has your wife always been somebody who's been a detractor of your business? I can understand. Like, you've been telling me that it's been pretty hard over the last 3 years. All the evidence that she has is that you're a loser that can't make it work. That sucks. So I want to reassure you, going to her and asking her permission to change this isn't going to change anything. Yeah? Going to her and saying, hey, I've made this choice. I need to do this. That's going to change everything. So I want to remind you, you said these things were really important. You wanted to change this because of your inability to provide for your family and the future that you want to give your children and your wife. So there's two ways this can go. You can go to her and you say, hey, honey, I am scared that I don't have enough money to do this course. And I know I've been churning around, not doing the work and not making the money and not providing for you. And I'm really scared and I don't know if I should do it or not. So when you do that, what you're going to say is you're going to say, oh, that's cool, honey. You should spend the money even though you haven't been pulling your weight in the business and you've been doing a bad job. I fucking doubt it. She's probably going to say, well, if you're going to go at this in such a freaking wishy-washy way and you're not sure you should do it, it sounds like it's going to be a complete waste of money. So I don't think you should do it. If you go to her half-assed, that's exactly what she'll do. Or you can go to her and you say, hey, honey, I know I haven't been cutting it. I know I haven't been doing as well as I should and I'm pissed off and I've drawn a line in the sand and I'm doing something about it and I've gotten some help and I found this guy who's helping me with it, but I need you to be with me on this. I need your emotional support because the next year is going to be a wild ride, but we are going to bust out of this and I'm going to give you all the things that I haven't been able to give you. So if you go to her and you actually have that certainty and you tell her what you're going to do and ask her for her support, do you reckon you'll get a different answer? Yes. Good. Well, contrast. Which one of those guys are you going to be? Well, in that case, is it Visa card or MasterCard? All right. So I think you can, like, if you get an objection and they give you another one and another one and another one, you can roll through that process as many times as you need to until it's done. When I do the takeaway is when they start recycling the same objection over and over again and I can't resolve it and they're just not listening, I will say, look, if we've gone through this 2 or 3 times now and I've spent an hour and a half on the phone showing you how to build your business and you're still making the same fucking excuses, you know what? This is not for you because all the rest of my people in my program are not going to enjoy having you around. And at that point, if they don't turn around and say, oh my God, you're fucking right, I'm being an idiot, here's my credit card, get the fuck off the phone. So that is the whole sales process and the objection handling process that I've used to create a multi-million-dollar business that Ryan and his team used to create millions and millions of dollars in sales of funnel experts, that Frank's students have used, that Mike's using, that Dan Klein's using. You guys are now going to be able to use it too.
And by the way, this objection handling that he just went through, this is the objection handling process that Dan was using with all his guys when they were doing $1 million a month. So this stuff is incredible.
So, any other questions? I've probably got another about 5 or 10 minutes, so Q&A, bring it on. If you want something, I got it.
Cool, guys. Any questions you guys got as far as the? I know Melanie, you had a question on the money objection. If you want, we could unmute you. Anyone else have any questions as far as objection handling, the script process? Guilliver, I just want to thank you for coming on here. This has been super valuable.
No worries, man. Anytime.
Anyone got any questions? So there's the money, there's time, there's partner, there's information and trust. So those are the 5 major objections. Let's scroll down. We got some stuff coming in. Script would be helpful. Guys, if you want the script, go to sortofsales.com. It's sort of sales and play the game, and that will come up with the script. Partner is another one I run into, but he addressed that too. It's really helpful to hear real world experience. Can you role play with Mike like he has a prospect to hear the objections? I'm down to role play if you have time.
Yeah. What's your objection, Mike? Give me a hard time, man.
You know what? I really want to do this, but I just don't have the money.
So, Mike, what I'm hearing you say is like you really want to do it. You want to step up and make it happen, but you don't have the money at the moment, correct?
Yeah, it's just, it's going to really tight at the moment for me. Like it's super tight.
Yeah, man, I feel you. Look, and I want to reward you for being so honest and really being vulnerable with me because it's not easy for a proud man like yourself who's a super high achiever to admit something like that. And I know, like, I hate saying I don't have the money for something. It really pisses me off. It sticks in my throat, and it would be very easy for you to make up a story or to like talk some shit about how you didn't really value the program, but instead you're being honest with me. And you know what, man? That does not make me want to work with you less, Mike. That actually wants me that makes me want to help you, to tell you the truth, brother.
Okay.
So I want to reassure you, you are not the only entrepreneur in my program who was jerking off the dog to feed the cat, who had $5,000 in their bank account 1 minute and negative 82 cents and couldn't buy milk the next. Like, we've all been there. It's not just you, and you are not alone, yeah?
Yeah. Okay.
Not your fault. Like, it happens to all of us. It's called cash flow, and it's a bitch sometimes, yeah? So what are we going to do about it, right? I want to remind you, you're talking to me before, you were saying, hey, you really love education, yeah? You value education. You want to help people have access to education. You want to help children that don't have access to education. You want to change the world. You require a multi-million-dollar business, not because you want to fly a Lamborghini copter into a mountain of cocaine, but you actually want to make a difference to the less fortunate kids who are disadvantaged, yeah?
Yeah.
And your business isn't just about marketing, it's about helping people, right?
Yep.
And of course you don't have enough money because there's never enough money, but what are we going to do about it? It's kind of what goes through my head. So I just want to realign you with that because there's two ways this can go. You can get off the phone and say, I don't have enough money, $36,000 is a lot of money, I'm never going to find it, I can't do it. And that's fucking shit because you could, yeah? You could, like, if you get off this phone and you never ever even try, it's going to haunt you and you're going to think back to this moment. You're going to be like, shit, what if I'd taken a roll of the dice? What if I'd put down a little bit of money and gone out and made some sales and found some more money? What if I'd backed myself into a corner and done it? What would have happened? Yeah?
Mm-hmm.
I think honestly, the other way it could go is you say, you know what, Gulliver, I don't have $25,000 to put down in one hit. I don't have $3,000 on my card right now, but here's what I do have. Why don't I put down a deposit and why don't you help me? And at that point, I'd be happy to give you my sales script. I'd be happy to help you for the next few days to make some calls and close some extra deals. I'd be happy to help you get some of your existing money over the line so you can top up your first payment and now you've got money coming in so you can afford to meet your obligations, not just in your existing business, but to be able to have more money than you need to be able to afford the education and the support that you'll get with me. But it means doing something. So if I could get you down to put down like a little deposit, like $500 or $1,000 or $1,500 or half of that $3,000 or however much you can, and then we can make you some more money so that you've got the money to pay the bills. Would that be easier? Could we do that?
Yeah. I'm just like, I have like maybe 500, but
Dude,
I got to speak
well,
to, go ahead.
I mean, honestly, Mike, if you put down that $500, what has to happen is you need to make sales because otherwise then you're going to go broke, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So what has to happen? If you put down your $500, can't put your $500 down and then be like, well, I'm just going to sit here and twiddle my thumbs and pick my nose and not do the work. You have to talk to me every day. Hey, I made this phone call. I talked to this person. I got stuck. I will fucking drag you up the hill personally, but you have to do the work. Are you prepared to do the work?
Yep.
Well, then I will stand by you and help you and give you the tools. And what we'll do is as soon as you put that money down, what we'll do is we'll make a time to go through all of the customers that you've got that you could close, all of your ex-customers who you might be able to upgrade, all of those guys that we could get referrals from, and we'll just start hitting it really hard for the next few days until you've got 5, 10, 15, 20 grand worth of sales in. So you've got more than enough money to pay my bill, but then you'll have some left over to pay your bills so that you're not freaking out. Yeah?
Okay, I got it. I appreciate it.
So Visa card or MasterCard?
I just got to speak to my wife about this first. Like she needs to. I need the okay from her.
So what I'm really hearing is, your wife, you need to chat with her about it first. You need to get the okay from her.
Yes.
Okay, cool. So thank you so much for telling me that, because the last thing I want you to do is go and blow all of your money without having her on board.
Yeah, I just need to tell her first.
So I want to reassure you, this happens all the time. It's not just you. A lot of guys who come into the program, they're in business with their partner, and she's the financial controller and they're the sales and marketing guy or whatever it might be. What's your relationship with her? How does it work?
She's actually not part of the business, but because it's going to come out of our savings. Like I just need to speak to her about this money because it's coming out of our savings. Like we have a trip coming up, and it's like both of our money. So I would need to speak to her about it.
Of course, yeah. Look, the last thing I want to do is fuck this deal up. Yeah.
Yeah.
By pushing you to do something that you're happy to do, but then she turns around and says, fuck, Mike, you've done that thing again. It would screw everything up. Yeah?
Yeah. And she doesn't like to watch me. Like, I'm working so hard right now because I work a regular job and then I'm doing this business part-time. So, and I've invested in a few stuff in the past and it hasn't worked. So I would this seems different. I just need to speak to her first.
Sure. So look, here's the thing. What I'd do is why don't we do this? Put down your credit card. What I will do is I will not hold any money on it or take any money off it, but put down your card to show me that you're 100%. Then why don't we do a chat with your wife together so that I can show her everything I've showed you and answer all of her questions so that you're not kind of, going into it unsupported. Because what I find happens is, I do a really great job of selling you, but if you go to her and you're like, hey, honey, there's two ways to go. You can go to her, you say, hey, honey, I'm really kind of worried about this. It's a lot of money and I'm not sure. And what'll happen is she'll be like, well, fuck, man, $3,000 a month's a lot of money if you're not sure and you need to ask my permission. Don't do it. And she'd be right. She'd be right to do that at that point. Like, it's just protecting your best interest. She hasn't had the whole value build that we spent the last hour and a half breaking down every aspect of your business, your marketing, your sales process, your pricing, your niching. If she doesn't have that experience, it will be really easy for her to say no to it without having all the information, yeah?
Yep.
So why don't we do this? Put down your card. Let's book in a time with her and you in the next few hours and go through it all together. At the end of that, if she's like, let's go, we'll get it done. At the end of that, if she's like, look, no fucking way, the last thing I want to do is piss you guys off, So I'll just tear up your credit card details and we'll call it quits.
Got it. Here's my card. 4000.
Cool.
Thank you, Gulliver.
Oh, good, man. So that's a little bit of a soft close. I ordinarily if they're going to go see their partner and talk to their partner, you've really got to make a judgment call in the moment on that. But I think pushing them to put money down without talking to their partner when they're telling you their partner's going to have a fucking shit fit, you're probably going to do more by actually going in and having the conversation with the partner at that stage. So I wouldn't close for the sale on that straight away. There's a lot of guys out there that'll be like, dude, if you have to ask your wife for stuff, you're just a little bitch. That's not me. Mm-hmm. I've got a wife I really love and respect, and there are some times when a guy has to do that, and if he's being honest with you about it, then, I think being more compassionate and less sexist is a good idea at that point. So, guys, any last questions? Anything else you want to know? Oh, thanks, guys. Awesome. Everyone's being nice to me. This is good. Megiddo, look, here's the thing. I've got clients that it's like they're doing this, and in a year, 2 years, 3 years, they're making $1 million, $2 million, $3 million. I've got clients who are getting there. It will take you years, but it will only take you a few years if you do the work, yeah? It took me 12 years to get to $2 million because I had so many problems, like I was telling you at the start. First 5 years were just trying to stay ahead of the wolves. It wasn't like super confident, awesome time. The last 5 years have been good to us, and, we've got the stability now. But it took me 12 years to get the business to $2 million, yeah? My clients are getting to $3 million in 2 years and 3 years. Some of them are making $1 million a month with this same system. So it's just about how hard you work it. It's not that you can't get there or that there's anything wrong with you. A lot of people sort of say, hey, you know, Gulliver, I wish I could do that. It's easy for you. You've been doing it for years. That's true. But the more you do it, the faster you do it, the better you'll get. I've got to cut this short, guys. I'm going to be going to help my guys. I've got a whole bunch of guys here that have been working really hard for the last few days. They paid me $25,000 for the last 5 days. So I can't spend any more time today with you guys. I'd love to, but I'm sure Mark will work you through those examples on your group calls over the next couple of weeks, Giuseppe.
Yep.
It's been a pleasure, guys. And thank you very much for having me, Mike.
Yeah. Well, thank you for coming on. I really appreciate it.
It's a pleasure. I will look forward to hear the stories of your success and your team here making some money over the next little while. I'd be really interested to hear what happens now.
Well, we'll definitely keep you in the loop. I appreciate it a lot. So thank you so much.
Love you guys. Have a great day. Thanks for having me, Mike.
Yep, you're welcome. Thank you.